Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Ruby and we are now in our 5th class of educational psychology. In the previous classes, we have learned about the meaning, nature and scope of educational psychology, Pavlov's classical conditioning, Skinner's operant conditioning, and Watson's behaviorism. We have gone through these concepts with simple explanations to help you understand them better. In this video, to simplify it even more and help you understand it thoroughly, we will look at the difference between classical and operant conditioning. By the end of this video, you will have a complete understanding of both the theories and how they differ from each other. If you are yet to subscribe to this YouTube channel, please subscribe now and press the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get started. The first difference can be seen in the nature of learning. In the classical conditioning, the learner is more passive. The learner here is not consciously trying to learn something. Instead, they form association between different stimuli. Think of it like a student who begins to feel anxious when they hear the school bell because the bell has repeatedly been associated with the start of a test. The student is not trying to feel anxious. It just happens automatically as a result of the repeated associations. This is a passive form of learning where the stimulus-response association is built without deliberate action from the learner. In contrast, in the operant conditioning, learning is more active. The learner must perform a specific behavior to obtain a reward or avoid punishment. For example, imagine a student who receives praise or extra marks for their good performance in class. This motivates them to study harder and continue performing well. Here the student is actively making an effort to learn and perform because they know their behavior will have a positive outcome. This active participation is key to operant conditioning. The major takeaway here is that in classical conditioning, it is about forming automatic associations, while in operant conditioning, it is about making deliberate choices based on consequences. Another difference can be seen in the role of stimulus and response. Classical conditioning is a form of learning which involves associating a natural reflex with a new stimulus. For example, if a teacher plays a particular song at the beginning of each fun activity, over time, students might start feeling excited just by hearing that song. Here, the excitement is a reflexive, automatic response to the stimulus, which is the song. The original neutral stimulus, that is the song, becomes a conditioned stimulus that evokes a conditioned response, which is the excitement. On the other hand, in operant conditioning, the focus is on associating behavior with a consequence. Let's say a student participates actively in class, and the teacher praises them for their engagement. As a result, the student is likely to continue participating actively in future classes. The praise serves as a positive reinforcement that strengthens the behavior. Unlike in classical conditioning, here the response is not reflexive, but a behavior that the student has control over. The behavior leads to a consequence that determines whether the behavior will be repeated. Next, timing plays a crucial role in differentiating between the two types of conditioning. In the classical conditioning form of learning, the stimulus comes first, followed by the response. For example, think about the classic school scenario where a bell rings, which is the stimulus, signaling that a lesson is about to start. Over time, students may start to feel excited, which is the response, when they hear the bell because they have learned to associate the bell with the lesson. Here, the bell rings first and the feeling of excitement follows. On the other hand, in operant conditioning, the behavior comes first, followed by a reward or punishment. For example, A student completes their homework, which is the behavior, and then the teacher gives them a star as a reward. Here, the student takes an action and the consequences follows. If the outcome is positive, such as receiving a star, the student is more likely to repeat the behavior in the future. So, to put it simple, in classical conditioning, the stimulus comes before the response, whereas in operant conditioning, the behavior precedes the consequence. Another key difference is whether the behavior is involuntary or voluntary. Classical conditioning deals with automatic, reflexive responses. These are behaviors that happen naturally without conscious thought. For example, flinching when you hear a loud noise or salivating when you smell your favorite food. These responses are not something we control. They are automatic. In contrast, operant conditioning focuses on deliberate actions, behaviors that are consciously performed. For example, raising a hand to answer a question in a class or completing extra credit assignments to improve grades. These are intentional actions shaped by consequences like rewards or punishments. Next, the type of responses that are learned in each conditioning type also differ. Classical conditioning typically results in emotional responses. For example, a student might feel anxious about entering a classroom where they are previously being scolded, or they might feel happy entering a room that's always associated with fun group activities. These emotional responses are learned through associations, whereas in operant conditioning, the responses are more about the reinforcement or reduction of specific behaviors. For example, if a student knows that they will receive a reward like extra points for submitting their assignments on time, they are likely to do so more frequently. Conversely, if they know they will lose points for being late, they might work harder to be punctual. Therefore, classical conditioning shapes emotional responses, while operant conditioning shapes behaviors. Now, keeping in mind the differences of these two conditioning, let us see how teachers can apply these principles in the classroom to enhance learning and manage students' behavior effectively. Using classical conditioning, teachers can create positive associations with classroom activities. For example, pairing academic tasks with enjoyable stimuli, like starting each lesson with a fun question or an engaging activity, helps the students associate the beginning of the class with something positive. This repeated pairing can lead to students looking forward to the lesson and participating more actively, enhancing their overall learning experiences. Operant conditioning comes into play when we want to encourage specific behaviors. A reward system is an excellent example for this. For example, giving tokens, stars, or verbal praise for positive behaviors such as active participation, good manners, or timely submission of assignments reinforces these behaviors. Over time, students learn that engaging in these behaviors lead to positive outcomes, motivating them to continue performing them. Classical conditioning can also help students overcome anxiety, particularly around stressful situations like tests. By associating test preparations with positive and enjoyable experiences, such as collaborative group discussions or interactive activities before exams, teacher can help reduce students' anxiety. As students start to associate test preparation with these positive experiences, their fear and anxiety level can decrease, leading to more relaxed and confident test taking. Now, operant conditioning can be powerful in helping students build self-discipline. Teachers can encourage students to set personal goals and rewards, For example, a student might aim to complete all assignments on time and reward themselves with a fun activity afterwards. This approach teaches students the importance of goal setting and self-regulation, while also providing them with a sense of accomplishment. Both classical and operant conditioning can be used together to manage classroom behavior effectively. For example, to create a calm and focused classroom environment, a teacher might use calming music. This use of classical conditioning helps students associate the classroom with a sense of peace. On the other hand, applying operant conditioning, principles like giving praise for good behavior or setting consequences for disruptions help manage behaviors by reinforcing positive actions and discouraging negative ones. Finally, teachers can use both classical and operant conditioning to differentiate instruction or say the methods of teaching to suit various students' needs. While classical conditioning can help create a positive and inclusive learning environment that supports emotional well-being, operant conditioning provides a structured approach to behavior management. For example, establishing clear rules and using positive reinforcement for good behavior helps maintain order and encourages a supportive learning environment. So that was all on today's class on the difference between the two types of conditioning. I hope you liked the video. Please let me know in the comment section. Also, if there is any specific topic in educational psychology that you would like me to cover in our upcoming classes, please let me know in the comment below. Like, subscribe and share. Thank you for watching and see you in the next class.